Well, hello. We made it finally. Hey, welcome, guys. Oh, man. I so wasn't sure we were going to make it in tonight, so we are good. Everything is fine, and I apologize for things about the live stream being so up in the air, but guess what? We're going to get an airplane up in the air in just a little bit here. Welcome, guys. It's another one of our Slant Alpha adventures, although technically, as we like to say in the case of the Duckworks DC-3, it is a Slant uniform adventure today. And it is, in fact, the Duckworks mod of the Douglas DC-3 here for Microsoft Flight Sim 2020. Sounds like it's a little windy out here today. I have not checked in METAR, but I remember it was the last time we did this trip, and we did this trip not that long ago, just a few weeks ago. It was the 12th. So what was that? That was 2.5 weeks ago. And we did this trip. We did a revival of what we used to call the Slant Alpha Island Cruise Excursions. The idea behind this series, when I first started it, and I first started it in the Wing42 Boeing 247D, the idea was that we were emulating what might look like, what an island cruise excursion might look like if you were on a cruise ship, and I don't know if you guys, many of you have maybe never been on a cruise before, but when you stop at each port that's on your 6-day, 7-day, 8-day itinerary, you're in port for usually the day. You get in at 8, 9 in the morning, and you're there until 4, 5, 6 in the evening, depending on how long it takes to get to the next spot. But while you're there, the cruise company contracts with a bunch of different tourism activity providers in the port or around the island or around wherever it is that you're stopped, and sells tickets, and then they shuttle you. That the company that provides the tour is responsible for shuttling you from the cruise port to wherever the activity is, and then shuttling you back again. And they're of course financially bound to do that before the ship has to cast off and set sail. So we're kind of taking the tack that we are a cruise tour provider down here on the island of Aruba in this case, and we're in our vintage 1930s vintage DC-3. This is like we said, it's the Duckworks DC-3. So we're going to shuttle up to 21 folks out from the cruise ship that might have docked here just to the west of the island, and I guess we can take a quick. Can I do let's do the drone camera speed. Let's just up it to the max here. Man, it must be windy today. Well, look at the okay, well that's going to make life interesting when it comes time to get this plane off the ground and then back on it again. But the cruise port in Aruba is just over here to the west of the airport. And I guess these are, of course, smaller ships that are docked here, but I'm pretty sure that this is all considered the cruise terminal. Nice sound of the waves lapping. Or maybe the cruise ship terminal might be here. There we go. That's making more sense. And, yep. And then so the shuttle buses would line up kind of through this little bus loop here. And then you'd all go out to your various little places around the island. So my wife and I got to visit Aruba toward the end of this past year. We actually flew out from Baltimore on Thanksgiving Day, and we went down to Florida and picked up our cruise ship in Port Canaveral, just outside of Cape Canaveral, just outside of Orlando. And Aruba was the second stop that we made on our tour. And so we're going to kind of reenact, again, if you were here 2.5 weeks ago, you heard this pitch already. But we're going to kind of reenact an air version of the ground tour that my wife and I did by bus. We're going to do it by plane. Now, when we did this 2.5 weeks ago, the World Update 16, Caribbean Islands World Update for the sim had just dropped within the last week or so. And I was like, oh, kind of cool timing. I didn't really plan it this way, but kind of cool timing that the Caribbean World Update just dropped. And so some of the landmarks that we're going to take you to see tonight will have been freshly updated and handcrafted, and are going to look awfully nice. And then we got around there and realized that it was all still the default stock scenery, and that I had not successfully downloaded and installed that world update. So kind of an embarrassing embarrassing issue there, and so we're going to just do a redo of it. At this point, we are at Hype Kingfish wants to know where we are. We're at TNCA, the Queen Beatrix airport here on the island of Aruba, TNCA. So there we are. We're going to say that you'll have kind of shuttled your way over to pick up the aircraft at the airport, and we are getting ready to go. We are going to start powering up. We got the master battery switch on, nav lights on, and avionics on. Okay, good. I just remembered which switch is which there. And coming into the stream tonight, these levers had suddenly stopped working, and I was about to throw this computer across the room, actually, but figured out that it had to do with some files that I had moved out of the community folder and troubleshooting the crash to desktop issue. One of the folders that I moved out was a module that FSUIPC7 needed in order to run the scripts that provide those controls. So got it all sorted out, and here we are. We've set the payload already. We've sent the flight plan on VATSIM. We have our trim. Let's see if I can get the armrest out of the way, and we can check the trim. Get it neutral. We'll pop down here to the bottom. It looks like all of our trims are nice and neutral. Let's go ahead. We know that's windy here. We saw the windsock. We've heard the wind from the outside. Let's just do a METAR observation. TNCA 080 at 16. Okay, that's not as bad as I thought, but still it's going to be an eastbound departure for sure. We are temps 27, QNH is 1014. 1013 is standard, so 1013 would equate to 2992. So 1014 would be about 2994 or thereabouts. So we'll go ahead and set the altimeter here, 2994, probably right about there. Yeah, field elevation's next to nothing here, so that seems like it's checking out. Altimeters, oh, there's two of them. Yeah, we'll set the other one over here. All right, 2994 set. Field elevation verified. Clearance is not applicable. There is some VATSIM air traffic control to our north, but none in our immediate area, and I lost my mouse cursor trying to grab VATSPY to bring it over here. But yeah, so there's some VATSIM air traffic control to our north, San Juan Center and Kingston radar, but none down here in the very southern Caribbean. By the way, these islands literally within sight of the Venezuelan coast. That's how far south they are. My wife and I have been on 3 Caribbean cruises. The first one was what they call the Western Caribbean. We stopped at Labadee, Haiti, and then Falmouth, Jamaica, and then Grand Cayman, which was in here, and then Cozumel, which is right here, and then back up to Miami. The second one we did was the Eastern Caribbean. That was what we did for our 5th anniversary, and that was Labadee, Haiti again, San Juan, St. Martin, and then St. Kitts, both in this area. St. Martin right here. St. Kitts kind of just right there. And then back up, and then so the Southern Caribbean was this one that we just did, which was Labadee, Haiti again. This is the Royal Caribbean's Resorts, Labadee, Haiti. So it's not really not really getting a local flavor of Haiti. It's just a private resort that Royal Caribbean takes you to. And then we continued south and did Aruba and Curacao, and then back up. Anyway, so again, sidetracked a little bit there, but VATSIM air traffic control not in the area where we are down here. So we will just go about our merry way on our own. So we got nobody to obtain clearance with. That was a long way of saying that. We got, let's jump up top here. I think 7,000 is probably the right squawk for VFR where we are. But since I'm not certain, we'll just set it to 1,200 and turn the altitude reporting mode on. And while I'm up here, I guess I might as well just set 22.8 in the comm. And we'll go ahead and swap that in. just hours away, by the way, from when the trial in VAT USA begins, where you can use the local CTAF channel for each airport rather than having to use 22.8 all the time. So that'll be interesting. That starts tomorrow. Anyway, so squawk set, transponder on. Departure is reviewed, which is just going to be a right downwind, basically off of runway 8. Getting ready to fire up the engines, but I feel like I want to head back and say hi to some folks in the chat that I didn't really get a chance to say hi to. Hype Kingfish, we did say hi to. Atmos Chem is here. It is a great evening to fly. He Drippy stopped in. Toaster Boy is here. And who did I miss? Comic Crazy says, "Have you tried sayintentions.ai?" Well, I have no idea what that is. Is it, if it's like an AI air traffic control system? No, I'm not interested in that. Comic Crazy. The new one that's out, Beyond ATC, is supposed to be really, really good, but it's also it's somewhat pay per use. But no, I really don't have any interest in an AI ATC. I've found that most of the ones that are out there, not really realistic. They don't handle procedures properly. That's not something that interests me. Anyway, where did I leave off here? Let's go ahead and get the beacon light on. Cow flaps can go to open.
2319.
We got our friend Kitty Monster stopping in. Oh man, you know what? And that volume kind of up in the headset. I was listening to some music the other day, and man, I still had it kind of cranked up there. So yeah, I'm aware that Kitty Monster's here. Thank you. Okay, Kitty Monster, how are you, man? So cow flaps open, master ignition can come on, and that's going to be that pushed in there. We are going to go ahead and open the right-hand window, as we remember from last time. The window allows us to hear whether the engine starts properly. We're going to go ahead and get the prop lever forward, throttle set to about 10%, and mix into auto rich there. The fuel tank on the right-hand side can be set to the main, right main. There we are. And spin through the fuel gauges suggests that we've got a good amount of fuel. Let's go ahead and get the fuel booster on. Let us energize the right-hand side. Hear that start to crank up. Just while we got a moment. We'll go ahead and mesh that. Engine will start spinning. After it spins a couple times around, we'll get the magnetos on. Press and hold the primer. Oh, and there we go. We can hear for certain that it did indeed fire up. Hope that it stays up. That oil pressure's coming up right away. Good. And we'll adjust to make sure that the RPM doesn't go any higher than about 1,000 here. Yeah, now it's surging. Alright, once we got it stable at 1,000, booster pump can come off, window can go closed, and we'll double check that we still have fuel pressure. Alright, very good. So number 2 is started. We will start to repeat the process on the number 1 side. Let's open up our window here. Oh, did I get the fuel booster off? Did I get the generator on? I definitely want to do that. Okay, good. Alright, window open, prop lever forward, throttle to about 10%, mix lever to auto rich. And fuel selector to left main. Left main, I said. Left main, I said. There we go. Iowa Scotsman is here. Welcome. Let's see. We want the fuel booster on then. We want to go ahead and energize the left-hand side. We will be able to hear that flying wheel start to spin up. I wonder if the oil pressure should come up when the engine is turning, regardless of the fact that it's not. So I think if we mesh the left side, no oil pressure yet. All right. Press and hold the primer. Oil pressure does indeed, yep, come up right away once it starts spinning on its own. Add a little throttle, make sure it doesn't stall out. And once it has stabilized, get the booster off, generator on, and window closed. I like that. Thunk sound is very nice. Oh, did I just... Okay, I thought I froze up for a second, but I just lost my mouse cursor, which I tend to do. Alright. Temps and pressure's looking good. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and set the fuel to the left aux and the right aux, just for now. Burn the auxes down first, and then the mains. Let's check our directional gyro and make sure that we're parked at about a 355. Mr. Egan is streaking across my chat room. We'll take it. That's fine. It's not totally fine, but it's fine. We'll allow it. So 355 is indeed set. Let's go ahead and do a flight control check. This would be an exterior check of the flight controls, obviously. Got a little bit of weirdness there because we got the parking brake engaged. But rudder's working, brakes are working. I mean, I'm getting a lot of weirdness off that left brake pedal. I hope that's not going to bite us today. But somebody outside will check and make sure that our control surfaces all work. And there we go. Flaps can be set to 1/4. Taxi route. As I recall, we had a closed taxiway that we taxied on last time, so I'm going to try not to do that this time. Taxi chart here. So it's not on here, but there is a closed taxiway. It may be dug up by now, but on the sim it's still here. It goes west from Foxtrot and comes in here. We're going to go straight across Foxtrot to Charlie, and then I'll taxi down to the end of Golf to depart on 1-1. Alright, so where did we leave off here? The taxi route, tail wheel can come unlocked. That has been the bane of our existence in this aircraft. So that's now done. Taxi light can come on, and parking brakes can come off, and hopefully now our brakes will behave themselves. Okay, yeah, it took a second application and unapplication of the parking brake to get it to behave itself, but now they seem fine here. so does this taxiway go straight across? It doesn't. So that might be Echo, so we're going to want to go down to Foxtrot and cross where Foxtrot goes down to Charlie. Okay. And what is this place called? Beatrix? Beatrix traffic, Douglas 514 Delta Victor's taxiing down to GA Apron and Foxtrot. We'll be crossing runway 11. Beatrix.
Beatrix traffic, November 930 Charlie, taxiing to GA ramp on Foxtrot, also crossing the runway. Beatrix.
Beatrix traffic, November 72 Mike Echo Type Baron, crossing runway 11 en route to runway 11 via Gulf.
Foxtrot and Charlie, okay. So we got two folks flying along with us tonight. Very cool to have you. Appreciate flying along, guys.
Beatrix traffic, November 72 Mike Echo clear, runway 11.
Beatrix traffic, Douglas 514 Delta Victor, crossing runway 11 from GA to terminal side, Foxtrot to Charlie. Beatrix. So we're going to cross the whole short line. Go ahead and call clear. Beatrix traffic, Douglas 514 Delta Victor, clear 11 on Charlie. We're joining Golf down to runway 11, Beatrix. Right throttle and left brake to get the turn enacted here. Right brake to stop the turn. No need to be in a hurry when you're taxiing a tail dragger. The more speed you have, the more that tail wants to kick around on you.
Beatrix traffic, November 930 Charlie, crossing runway 11 at Foxtrot. Charlie, you can join Golf down to the end of the runway. Beatrix.
Okay, so as soon as the one behind us calls clear, the one ahead of us can go. And the plan, by the way, for those of you flying along, right downwind, we're going to then proceed clockwise around the island. We're going to head up to, we're along the south coast of the island. We are going to go clockwise. We're going to go westbound and then around to the right up to the northwestern tip. That's the first landmark that we're going to be seeing tonight.
Beatrix traffic, November 930 Charlie, clear runway 11 at Charlie. Beatrix.
All right. And we are going to do...
Traffic, November 72 Mike Echo, taking off runway 10 and then doing a right downwind departure to the west. Beatrix.
Yeah, good call, good call. We do have a we have a little hold pad here. Beatrix traffic, Douglas 514 Delta Victor is going to enter the hold pad off of runway 11 for run up. Beatrix. aggressive with the brake. Alright, our friend is
traffic November 72, Mike Echo.
off and away.
Turning right for a right crosswind runway 10.
Alright, we're running up to about 1,500 RPMs. Do a prop lever check.
Douglas 514 Delta Victor, you can take off if you want. I will wait.
I'm going to be here just one more minute.
Beatrix traffic November 72, Mike Echo 1,500 feet, turning left downwind, right downwind from runway 10.
Okay, so prop lever's checked. We're going to do the right magneto down 1. Yep, here then go out of sync and then back. The left magneto down 1. Here then go out of sync in the back. Right magneto down 2. Yep, here then go out of sync and then back. And then left magneto down 2. And then back. And then we want to check our carb heat as well. Make sure that there is indeed a loss of RPMs with that. Okay, I think we're done.
Beatrix traffic November 72, Mike Echo departing the pattern to the west. Last call, Beatrix.
Beatrix traffic, Douglas 514 Delta Victor is departing runway 11 on the right downwind VFR westbound Beatrix. So strobe lights on, landing lights on, pitot heat on, and fuel boosters can come on. We'll get lined up, we'll get the tail wheel locked. At 48 and 27 is our takeoff power, then 42 and 25 and a half. Alright, tail wheel lock. $47. Come flying. Holding some right rudder to stop the weather veining.
Beatrix traffic November 930 Charlie, winding up runway 11.
47 and 48 and 27. And then we get it down to 42 and 25. Here. You can hear the buffeting starting. Beatrix traffic, Douglas 514 Delta Victor clear of runway 11 entering the right crosswind. Beatrix. Yeah, controls got all mushy. I had the nose up too high. Controls got all mushy. You can hear the buffeting. propulsion will let us sink, get that fixed. Take her up, not too bad. Take her up to just about 2,000 feet, and then we'll go ahead and we can get the fuel boosters off and cows to trail, by the way. And then 36 and 23 and a half. Or no, actually, when we get to cruise, 28 and 20 and a half.
Traffic, November 9 Charlie. Taking off runway 11 for a right traffic pattern, VFR, departure westbound.
Manifold down to 28. Let's bring the pitch, RPMs down to about 20 and a half. And we can go to cows to trail, enough to closed rather. Mix can go to auto lean. Landing and taxi lights can come off. And away we go, guys. Welcome to what they call One Happy Island. And actually, right around in here... no, I'm thinking of the wrong island. So, when we get over to Curacao, I'll kind of give you an idea where where our tour ended that evening. Right now, though, we're headed up to the northwestern end of the island of Aruba. Oh, Just Huggy stopped in. Yeah, it was not bad. Nice straight takeoff. But then I did pitch up too high and wasn't careful with my airspeed, so we did jeopardize the plane just a little bit on the climb out. But we got it sorted out. Heading up to the northwestern corner of the island of Aruba, and again, last time kind of gave you the same pitch. We're taking you up to what they call the California Lighthouse, and it's not named after the U.S.'s California. It's not named after Mexico's California. It was built in the early 1900s, and it was named after a British supply ship that crashed off the island, off the coast of the island, in the late 1800s. When we did this portion of the tour last time, the lighthouse was not actually modeled, but it is here now. Stands about 100 feet tall. Brick construction. When you go out here on a tour, you are able to take the stairs all the way up to the top. My wife and I did not do that. But it is properly modeled there now. We actually can see it. Just a little bit up on this hillside. So the hillside sits about 80 feet above sea level, and then the lighthouse itself is another 100 feet above the ground level there. So 180 feet mean sea level in terms of the height of the light. Just on our side of the lighthouse, you can see the giant Italian restaurant. And I believe, I can't remember what that used to be. It used to be operations building associated with the lighthouse, and then that was when the lighthouse was converted over into electric light power. They were able to automate the operation of it, so they didn't need to have a big operations building anymore. So they turned what was here into a giant, probably the biggest Italian restaurant on the island, right up there by the lighthouse. Beautiful view, down here of the southern shore. And again, right off the southern shore, if we're able to, once we get turned around, we'll show you how close we are to Venezuela in South America. It really is only about 15 miles to the Venezuelan coast. Show you here on Sky Vector. So here's Aruba, here's Curacao, and here's the coast of Venezuela. Go ahead and continue our turn now. Should be able to get you. Yeah, there's a nice review of the lighthouse and the lighthouse and the restaurant there. And then just down off that way, you can see the coast of Venezuela. Not far at all. So our bus tour, when we did this in late November, early December, I think it was early December by the time we got to Aruba. The bus tour actually went in the opposite direction of what we're flying for you tonight. So this was the last landmark that we saw before we then took the roads back into town to get back on the cruise ship. Just up the coast a little ways here, there are two distinct landmarks that we'll talk about. And I don't think either of them are actually modeled in the sim, even after the world update, but we'll see what we see when we get up there. The second piece that we're going to see is what they call the Bashiribana ruins. The Bashiribana fortified mine entrance up here. It's there were some gold mines that were dug into the eastern part of the island, or the north central part of the island, and they were kind of clever when they fortified the entrance to it. They put a little bit of a stone fort there, but they built the stone fort into the rock formation there, and they cleverly hid that stone fort from the water side. When viewed from the water side, it simply just looks like a rock formation. Then when you turn around and you're viewing it from the land side, you can certainly see that it is a little bit of a fortress, a little bit of a protected fort entrance there. So clever camouflage, the way they designed and built the entrance to that mine. Not sure 100% we're going to be able to see it, and I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to visually identify the road that goes up to it. But just past it, one of these little inlets, and I'm not sure if we were able to determine which one. There are two formations that have been cut into the rock by the outflowing rivers, and they call it the Natural Bridge, the Aruba Natural Bridge. And there's actually two. There's a larger one and a smaller one. Now, the larger one did finally collapse in 2005. So you'll see, you might, if you get up there, you can see where it used to be. But there is a smaller natural bridge that has been cut into the stone formation, but it too has started to become unstable, and so they no longer allow foot traffic across that bridge. At some point, it'll probably collapse too. Not sure if that'll be in my lifetime or not, but you can see there's a couple of little island waterways, rivers. One here,
Mike, what day is it,
one
Mike?
a little bit further up, and I'm not sure which one actually has the natural bridge. And whether we'll be able to tell. I mean, I might kind of be able to see. Yeah, this looks like it might be what was the visitor center, and I believe I went through this entire speech last time as well. No, it wasn't that much of a neighborhood. It might be this one out here that's maybe a little bit more isolated. I'm gonna turn away so that when I dip the wing back to it, put a little left rudder in, and we can kind of keep the wing low, but turn away from it. Yeah, there's a bunch of little rivers that kind of cut out and come this way. So again, I'm not sure that the natural bridges are modeled. If there's a little building, cluster of buildings near the edge of one that's a little bit more isolated, then that might be it. Because there was definitely like a little visitor center, snack shop, and whatnot. But the one that I pointed out a little bit ago, there was like a whole neighborhood there, and it really wasn't. It was more isolated than that. There might be. That's looking like it was it here. Whoops. That's probably it right there. So again, we won't really be able to see the structure itself. But this is out where they did where they have what is called the natural bridge formation of Aruba. Again, large natural bridge and small natural bridge. Large one has now collapsed, and they do not allow for traffic over the small one. Why is the compass housing so jiggly? I don't know. That's maybe normal vibration. I don't know if yeah, we take the props out of sync and back in on purpose. Maybe if we get them slightly better in sync, it'll vibrate a little less. But a certain amount of vibration in this plane's normal, and that's why they mount it on bungee cords. You click it, you can stop it jiggling? Oh, that might be... I might have accidentally clicked it earlier, causing it to start jiggling. It wasn't really bothering me, but if it's bothering you guys, I'll shut it off. Alright, how we doing on fuel? Fuel's good. The jiggle's so distracting. I didn't notice it until you said something, to be honest. Now I won't be able to unsee it, so thank you for that. Alright. Anyway, alright, so where are we? Let's plot ourselves a course to join the northwestern tip of the island of Curacao. It looks like we're going to fly on 103 for 42 miles. Boys, boys, boys. We've got her down to about 1,500 feet just because I was trying to show you stuff. Since we're going to go over a little open water hop, we're going to go ahead and pick up a little bit of altitude here. Let's go ahead and get it into climb power. So mix back to auto rich. Let's go cowls to trail. Let's take the RPMs back up to 23.5 here. And manifold pressure up to about, what, 36? Yeah, 36. And then what's the heading that we wanted to fly? 103. About 42 miles across open water. Once we level out, we'll be making about 2.5 miles a minute. So 42 at 2.5. I overshot. I'm about a 90 heading here. Bring it back to a 100 more or less. If we miss that 100 heading, it's not going to be terrible. If we do miss, let's miss a little bit to the right. If we miss a little bit to the right, we'll hit coast. If we miss a little bit to the left, we'll be out in open water here. About a 105 is there. It's about good. It's 7:56, and we're going to go 42 miles. We're starting to do the math there. 42 miles at 2.5 miles a minute. If we did 15 minutes, it'd be 15, 30, 38. So we'll call it 16 to 17 minutes. 17, 34, and then another 8, 40, 41, 42. Yeah, so we'll call it 17 minutes from 7:56. So about quarter after. So far so good, guys. We did the California Lighthouse was the one of the two that after we did this the first time around, I was like, oh my gosh, the California Lighthouse was part of this of that upgraded package. I wish I had it installed properly. But that's so that was there. That was encouraging. And then the Juliana Bridge. That blue and yellow bridge over the center of Willemstad in Curacao is going to be the other one. So we'll see when we get there. Right now we're going to just head straight to Curacao, and then we're going to just set the plane down. Take a little bit of a break. $3,500 seems fine. Keep drifting left here. I want to try and stay over on about a 105. And then I guess we're going back to our cruise power here, so 28 and 2050. Auto lean, and the cowls can go into closed. Yeah, we'll set down in Curacao, take a little stretch break. You know, one thing that I didn't point out at the beginning of the stream, guys, but you'll notice that I did file my VFR flight plan on VATSIM via the flight plan box within vPilot. This might be, we'll have to commemorate this stream. That might be the last time that I am able to do that. We talked earlier last week about how vPilot, starting tomorrow, is updating to where similar to how they did XPilot a couple years ago. They are taking away that flight plan box from the app, and that flight plan button is going to redirect you to the flight plan web-based filing page on my.vatsim.net. Nice video, by the way, says Hype Kingfish. Yeah, so I wanted to make sure, thank you, by the way. I wanted to make sure that I got that. I've been wanting to do that for a while, Hype Kingfish, but I kind of let it back burner itself because, you know, the flight plan app window was removed from XPilot 2 years ago, and they were like, oh, well, vPilot's going to do the same thing any day now. And then any day became 2 years down the road. So I kind of had back-burnered it. But given the fact that they've gone ahead and made that change imminent, I decided I needed to go ahead and get that tutorial out and published. Not only for the benefit of those who, you know, like myself, might be married to that window, but for my own benefit. Like, there's 16 codes at the bottom of that flight plan. I need to know what they mean because I have no clue. And so it'll be interesting to start demonstrating that as early as our very next flight. Our next flight, by the way, we're going to be back into the Curacao mod of the 787-8. That's going to be Saturday. 24 hours of VATSIM events going on, basically all day Saturday. And so we have elected, through a poll that we ran on our Discord, there were 3 potential legs that we were able to choose from, time-wise, that would match up with our stream on Saturday. And so through a poll that we ran on our Discord, we chose stage number 7. That is going to be Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, heading out to Denver International Airport in the Midwestern U.S. We will be in the Curacao mod 787-8, and it will be probably the first time that we have to use that web-based flight plan filing page. So we'll have to, it's timely. I'll know what those codes all mean. Yes, we'll demonstrate that on Saturday. But yeah, so normally, if you're new to the stream, guys, normally our schedule is Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We're a little bit off schedule this week. Didn't get to fly for you yesterday. We're here for you tonight. We'll be off tomorrow, which would normally be a stream day, and then we'll be back on for Saturday, which would ordinarily not be a stream day, but we will be participating in that 24 hours of VATSIM stage number 7. Now, Dead Parrots here says, nice to see the DC-3 without the GPS. Yeah, man, well, obviously you came to the right channel to see it without the GPS, for sure. Just get a nice external shot of it. It's the Duckworks mod, in case you were not here earlier when I was explaining that. It's the Duckworks mod of the Douglas DC-3. Puts some pretty nice realism features in. It's the Aeroplane Heaven is the physical model, and then the Duckworks mod, kind of just fleshes out some of the engine systems and other aircraft systems. Yeah. Where we're going, we don't need codes, says 26.2. Unfortunately, starting tomorrow, we need a lot of them. Alright, so we said we're going to be setting down at about quarter after, making landfall, I guess. About quarter after. It looks like the island of Curacao is starting to come into view here. See if we can, while we are relatively wings level. Let's see, where's my, okay, there's my my turn indicator and slip skid indicator. So while we're relatively wings level, let's just do a real quick calibration of the compass. It looks like we're on a 90-10, like a 102, 103. So I'm backing down a couple degrees. Fried Corn Cakes is here. Says, does the carb heat do anything in this plane? Yes, it does. At least in the Duckworks modded version, it does. So you'll see our carb temps are down a little bit on the low side there in the yellow. If I go ahead and pull carb heat in, we keep half an eye on my attitude indicator while I do this. You will see that the carb temps do come up as I do that. And during the run-up, we did also note that the carb heat does appropriately cause RPM drop during the run-up as well. Since there's not a whole lot of moisture down here, I'm not terribly concerned about carb temps. I do believe that carb icing can occur if you are not mindful of it in humid conditions. So, yeah, Fried Corn Cakes, I would say, checking this gauge here to watch the carb temps is probably a good thing. Uh-oh, a Dead Parrot says, I was flying in the northeast today with live weather and the crosswind was too much. It's maximum 13 knots. Yeah, we have landed this thing in some pretty interesting crosswind conditions as well. It is not an easy task. There is a reason that those limits exist. Oh, looks like I've drifted off my heading a little bit to the left here. Still keeping about 3,500, and then we'll skirt across the top corner of the island and then down to the east. So if we follow the coast, it's roughly about 17 miles. Yeah, about a 17-mile trip down the coast there. And then let's start planning for our arrival. We search, we're in TNCA, we're going to TNCC. Let's just open up our charts. Taxi chart, there's our airport and airport info. It is also an 11 and 2.9. It's 11,000 foot 11 and 2.9. Hype Kingfish brings up a good point. Let's see what the TNCC 090 at 11, so it's going to be more or less down the runway. A little bit of a left to right component, but mostly down the center line. Yep, Hato International. There you go. Hato Traffic Sim, Mr. Egan. You're correct. I probably did that wrong last time. No, not the procedures I was looking for. Airport briefing. Communication failures. Oh, there we go, comms. Hato Tower, yep. Charge, taxi, airport. There we go. And we are going to GA aprons up to the north. I'm sorry, up to the east off of Delta, so that's where I'll shoot for. Field elevation there, pretty close to sea level. 36 feet. Still doing okay on fuel? Yeah, we are. So the mains are showing about 90 gal. Auxes are down to about 60. Once we pass the tip here, we'll start dropping some altitude. Oh my goodness, we got the resubscription, JCT. Thank you very kindly for the resub. Appreciate that so much. By the way, I mean, I guess one thing I need to be checking. We're gonna get some predictions for our landing rate here once we start descending and getting set up for the approach. But we are getting ever so close to 4,000 Twitch followers, and when we hit that point, definitely going to do a nice big giveaway for that as well. We are getting closer. Fried Corn Cakes has asked a very timely question. We were talking about it earlier. Will there ever be a time when VATSIM will use published frequencies? In the U.S. only, there's a trial run for that very thing starting tomorrow. In effect, yeah. Well, so technically, it is March 1st in terms of Zulu. Yeah, as JPC points out, right? So technically it is March 1st in terms of Zulu, as of about an hour and 11 minutes ago. But yeah, within, and it's allegedly planned to be a 6-month trial. Up to a 6-month trial, I guess is the way they worded it. But yeah, now that's applicable in VATUSA only. One nice thing about VATUSA is because all the charts are freely available on SkyVector, all the frequencies that you need. What do we have here? What crazy layer do I have enacted that pilot reports? Let's get rid of that. But the nice thing about SkyVector
At the traffic, November 72, Mike Echo is 10 miles to the west, inbound for a straight in on runway 11 at
is that any of these public strips you've got, and of course that one is 122.8, so nothing changes there. But all these public strips, another one that is 122.8. My home field 23.05. Delaware Coastal 23.0. 22.9 up here at Shoreman, Delta 74, west, kind of south of Harrington. So it is nice that SkyVector just freely publishes all that information without having to have any kind of subscription or. We won't have to dig too much for the information. Coming into the island of Curacao, guys. Now, my wife and I, the tour that we took on Curacao was all throughout the city of Willemstad, which is down here on the southern coast, kind of south-central coast of Curacao. Kind of, well, I guess maybe southeastern coast, really. So when we get over there, we'll talk a little bit more. And again, for those of you who were here 2.5 weeks ago when we did version 1 of this tour, apologize if you're hearing all the same highlights again. But we did a bus trip through the city of Willemstad, and really got to see a good sampling of all the different parts of the city.
Other international traffic, November 72, Mike Echo is on final runway 11 Atto.
Alright, I am going to start our descent here. So we'll go Mixoller Rich, landing lights on. Let's go down to 21 and 2050. So 2050 is already what we have set in terms of RPMs. And you can see as soon as I pulled that power out, you can see the plane wanted to kind of start going down. Sorry for the commotion in the background, guys. We were supposed to have some visitors earlier tonight. That didn't come to pass, which is why I suddenly found myself able to stream for you. But it sounds like our visitors have finally now gotten here, possibly. So, but that's all right. We're going to go ahead and finish the live stream out for you. At this point, since we're reducing power, I am going to go ahead and pull in a little bit of carb heat. And then once we get set up for approach, we're going to bring it down to 19 and 19. 19 on the manifold, 1900 on the RPMs. The thing to remember with these big radials, guys, is you don't really want to make a whole ton of power adjustments. You're not going to try and set this thing up. You don't want to set up for a tight pattern in this thing and just yank the power all around like you would in your single engine piston. You kind of want to make a one reduction in power, and then you kind of use drag management to get the plane safely onto the runway. Do I need a call since I'm doing a water landing? If so, how? I don't fly float planes, Hype Kingfish. I would assume just normal communication of your intentions is fine. Just treat the strip that you're going to land on like it were a runway and do your pattern calls to that. But yeah, I don't do a lot of, I don't really do any float plane flying. Halo traffic, Douglas, 514 Delta Victor is about 10 miles northwest, 2,300 descending. We're going to set up for a left base to runway 11, full stop, Halo. So there's 21. We'll go to 19 and 19 when we get in a little closer.
Idle traffic, November 72, Mike Echo, clear the runway at Charlie at the...
Gear can come out whenever we need it to because we're below 160. And then 150, 120, 110, 105. So gear and flaps 1 can really come at any time here.
Hey there, traffic, November 93, Charlie, heading up for a water landing southeast of the field.
Oh, so Jet Pilot Cinnamon, we just got a network-wide broadcast. Remind us of that that USA CTAF trial that is in effect now. Ex-Assassin, this is the Duckworks mod of that DC-3. And welcome back to the channel. So there's 2,000. Guys, why don't we start putting in some predictions as to the descent rate upon touchdown? There's no bot command necessary. Just a number into the chat, positive or negative, indicating your guess as to the feet per minute at the moment the wheels touch runway surface. As we mentioned, there's no bot command necessary. There's not even a minus sign necessary. We know that you mean a descent rate either way. Closest predictor gets an automatic entry into our monthly landing rate raffle. We were just starting to talk earlier about the giveaways on the channel. We got the monthly landing rate raffle that we pull toward the end of the month every single month. We've got our bracket challenge, our men's NCAA basketball bracket challenge that'll be starting up on the 17th. We're starting to get the entries into the group, our bracket group on ESPN.com. But of course, the entries don't really have to start coming in until Selection Sunday, March 17th. And then we've got a big giveaway coming up as we are inching ever so closer to 4,000 Twitch followers. Alright, so we're going to go 19 and 19. Hopefully that is now the last time. Ooh, man, we got just a huge gust of wind hit us there all of a sudden. 19 and 19, and hopefully now that is the last time we will have to make any kind of power adjustment for this this flight. Let's go ahead and get the gear out. I believe this is our runway right here. Alright, gears out and green. First option flaps is coming in. Again, not making any more adjustments in terms of any more adjustments in terms of power. We're going to control the descent now, all with drag. 120, we can go flaps 2, and that's right where we are now. Hato traffic, Douglas 514 Delta Victor's on about a 2-3 mile left base runway 11 Hato. Flaps 3 at 110. We can go to flaps 4 at 105. Okay, we can go to flaps 4 now, but I don't want to fall out of the sky either. Go ahead and call ourselves cleared to land. Aim for about 95 down approach and 80 for our touchdown speed. Yeah, so you know what? I'm probably going to need that extra drag. I feel like we're a little high here. For that last batch of drag coming out. If I've got to pull it back in to keep the plane from falling out of the sky, I'll do that. Right now, I feel like I've got plenty of height.
Hato traffic, November 9 Charlie down on the water taxiing to the beach. Hato traffic. And
I just remembered now, looking at this thing, that we do have a nice long displaced threshold here too. So if I pull the nose up, you know, I got our aiming point's like right here. So if I pull the nose up, you know, I might be in danger of losing a little bit too much airspeed. We'll have to watch. I'll be ready to pull a notch of flaps back in if I feel like that's the case. Still got a good amount of altitude to lose here. Speed's drifting up. Might be able to slip a little forward, slip a little bit. Might need to slip a little bit just to counteract the crosswind, actually. I said forward slip. We might need to put a little side slip in here. Now we got full flaps out. Yeah, we're getting shoved around pretty violently here, but we're going to make the best of it. Hato traffic, Douglas 514 Delta Victor, short final, runway 11, full stop Hato. carrying some extra speed, but we get all the drag out that we can. We got plenty of pavement to get that speed off. Kind of want to get it down to 80 knots, but yeah, it looks like we're going to be a little fast here. That's okay. Just smooth it out. As soon as we get touched down, we'll pull the power back. Come on, flare. There's 80 knots. We're settled in. Okay, well, that's a bad bounce. Let's re-flare for our second touchdown. Alright, so not very graceful. Man, that first touchdown registered nice and light, though. Much lighter than I expected it to, based on the way it felt. Alright, tailwheel lock's coming off. And let's go ahead and get vacated. Oh, I didn't get the fuel boosters on either. The fuel boosters would be on for the final approach phase there. And then as soon as we get down, cow flaps come open. Fuel booster pumps come off. Where are we? Are we north of the control tower? Yeah, it looks like we kind of went really long here. So this is right at the ramp where we want to be, I think. Straight across here. Stow the flaps. Hato traffic, Douglas 504 Delta, we're clear of runway 11 at Delta straight into the ramp. Hato. So north of the terminal is the GA. So we'll park over here. We'll assume this is our little GA building over here. Actually, this looks like a nicer little cruise tour terminal, so we'll head over there. Yeah, so I felt like that first hit was a little firmer than I wanted it to be, but it registered nice and light, so I have no idea. I guess I can't really trust this little stats pop-up. Basically, the whole thing is just a game. Anyway, so the pitot off, strobes off, landing and taxi lights off. We got the cows, we got the flaps stowed. RPM's down to 1,000. Pivot her around, and we're going to stop, and then we'll see where we wound up with the predictions. Alright, our parking brake is on. Gonna get back down to 1,000. Alright, let me do a quick shutdown here, guys, and then we'll take a quick break out of the cockpit. So tail wheel, yeah, we did all that stuff off of the runway, and then arrival at ramp, taxi light off, parking brake on, tail wheel can go back into the lock position. Let's go ahead and we're going to shut the whole plane down. We'll restart it for our second leg for our return trip. So throttles go to closed, mixes go to cut off, magnetos get shut off. Prop levers can come down as soon as the engine stopped turning. Generators and fuel selectors. Alright, the transponder. Come up here. We'll just set, we'll turn it off here. Oops. We'll turn it off and we'll leave it on 1200. Again, outside of the U.S., that probably should be on 7,000. We got plenty of fuel. We're not really doing formal fuel estimates for this. But we'll go ahead and kick everybody out of the cockpit. Again, so we got a second leg left to do, guys, so don't worry about that. But we'll kick everybody out of the cockpit. Cow flaps, beacon lights, nav lights, master ignition, avionics, and master battery. Alright, and then where were we with our landing rate? Again, I felt like when we made that first touch, and of course we did register 2 bounces. Pretty normal in a tail dragger this size. But that first touch I thought was a little bit more of a substantial hit. It registered at 50 feet per minute. Alright, whatever, we'll take it. Where were you guys with your guesses? We had 112, 110, 98, 124, 69, 178, and 220 and 145. So that means He Drippy is going to take it with his very nice guess of 69. That's what it looks like to me, guys. Was anybody lower than He Drippy? Did I miss any? That's what I'm going with. Correct me if you see something that I'm missing, guys. I also want to say thank you very kindly to Sim Mr. Egan with that 100-bit cheer. Thank you very much for the continued support of the channel. Again, it's the monthly giveaways, and we have the big giveaway for the March Madness, for the Bracket Challenge. We'll have a big giveaway for... Well, the big giveaway once we hit 4,000 followers. We got a new follow there just a moment ago from a Dead Parrot. Thank you very kindly for that. Your continued support of the stream, everybody, in terms of the follows, the donations, the cheer bits, the subscriptions, and the gift subs. We totally appreciate all the continued support. Again, the money that comes in, this is not something I do for a living, guys. The money that comes in is what funds all these fun giveaways that we do on the channel. That's a resubscription there from Scotty Too Hottie. Wow. Hey, good to see you, Scotty. Thank you very much for that. What am I writing down here? Oh, yeah, He Drippy. And we're at TNCC on 229. 2/29er. One time in 4 years I'll get to write that. Alright, friends. Well, we're going to take a quick break out of the cockpit, do a little liquid recycling. I do have to say hi to some guests here at the Slant Alpha household, but we will be back with you. We'll do one more leg. We'll take you on a tour of the island of Curacao, and then we'll head back to Aruba to land and end the evening. So we do have a lot more flying left to do, friends, so please do stick around, and we'll be back with you in just a few. Okie doke, friends, back with you. Thanks for your patience. We are, in case you guys missed it earlier, we are reenacting a stream that we did about 2.5 weeks ago, and wasn't 100% happy with the result of that stream because we just a confluence. This is a comedy of errors on this stream sometimes, you know. So I had decided, because my wife and I had gone on a cruise in late November, early December, just this past year, and we visited these very islands of Aruba and Curacao, and it got me thinking about wanting to revive a series that I had done on the stream previously, which we called Slant Alpha Island Cruise Excursions. By the way, the motto of Slant Alpha Island Cruise Excursions is, you're guaranteed to see an island during your cruise excursion or your money back. And the joke there is that we did a cruise excursion in Alaska, our Alaska tour, in 2017. And one of the excursions that we booked was a whale watching tour. So we got off of one gigantic boat and onto a much smaller boat, although even it was still pretty big. It held about probably 100 people. Two-level cabin cruiser, probably held 50, maybe 60 people downstairs and 40 people upstairs. So fairly large, pleasure boat, cruising boat. For this bay that was off of Juneau, Alaska, and the tour company that operated the whale watching excursion was like, we guarantee you that you are going to see at least one whale during your excursion. If you don't, full refund. And those guys, man, we saw a dozen. And we saw seals, and we saw every conceivable kind of bird you could think of. What other kind of wildlife did we see up there? Man, just everything. But tons and tons of whales, like a dozen or so, and fairly close up too. So they knew exactly where to go and how to make sure that we got our money's worth out of it. We did. Totally awesome trip. But I just thought the guarantee was funny because, like, if you pay to see a whale and you don't see a whale, we will give you your money back. So my motto for the island cruise excursion is, if you don't see an island during your island cruise excursion, we will issue you a full refund. So if you are looking at the screen right now, our guarantee to you has been met. Anyway, so the idea was we were doing this in our Wing42 Boeing 247D 10-seat vintage airliner that kind of was maybe the predecessor to the DC-3 in many ways. And going around, we did a bunch of stuff in the Caribbean. We did a Greek island tour. We did, what else have we done? We'd done Hawaii. We'd done, I think we did one down in the little island chain off of Tahiti. So we had kind of a bunch of different ones, and it was a fun series. But I kind of got frustrated with the Boeing 247D because of its ground handling characteristics, which it's very difficult to move around on the ground, and unrealistically so sometimes. Like, big tail draggers are not easy. But if you understand the basic physics of it, they should react predictably. And the 247D just had some weirdness going on with its brakes and its steering on the ground. So, so I kind of got frustrated with it and decided to give it up. Holy cow! We got a raid coming in from Citation Max. Good gracious! Well, that's good timing, Max. I was just sitting here kind of explaining what we were up to tonight. So got another leg left to fly, a little bit of flying left to do. So thanks to Max for the raid, and for everybody coming over to the channel from Citation Max's stream. Welcome. What you're looking at is the Duckworks mod of the Douglas DC-3, and we're doing a little kind of a recurring series that we call Slant Alpha Island Cruise Excursions. So we're imagining that you got off of your cruise ship on Aruba and you got shuttled over to our DC-3. Up to 21 of you from the cruise were able to buy tickets for our little tour excursion. So you get off the ship, you met a shuttle bus at a certain time down on the dock. They drove you over to our plane. We got you on the Douglas, loaded up and strapped in, and we did a little tour around the island of Aruba. And now we've crossed the little across the little open water down here to Curacao. We're going to take off again. We're going to do a loop around Curacao, and then we'll head back over to Aruba to get you back onto your cruise ship in time for your nice buffet dinner. So that's what we've been doing for our Island Cruise Excursions tour. The guarantee is we guarantee that you will see an island during your Island Cruise excursion, or we will offer you a full refund. So, but anyway, my wife and I did a cruise in late last year, and Aruba and Curacao were two of the islands that we were able to visit. We did a bus tour of Aruba, so I kind of took you past the sites that we saw on that bus tour. And then we did in Curacao. The excursion that we did in Curacao was what they call the Curacao Bar Crawl. And it wasn't really as much of a bar crawl as it was a tour of the city of Willemstad. And they took us to 3 different bars. So it was a bar crawl in that regard. They took us first to kind of like a hole-in-the-wall bar in the middle of the inner city. It was kind of like a storefront bar. And then they took us. We still were there for about 45 minutes. We got back on the bus. We went to then a kind of an upscale restaurant in the restaurant district. It was a bar and grill that had a nice little patio area. That was number 2. And then the third bar that we stopped at was one of the beach resort bars. So in a fairly sizable thatched hut, thatched pavilion like at the beach, that had a bar underneath. And so we kind of all sat on the beach, and that was our third stop. So we did get to see a little bit of a different flavor of this city. Well, Willemstad is cut in half by what they call the St. Anna Bay. And over top of the St. Anna Bay is like a 175-foot tall blue and yellow bridge. And when we did this 2.5 weeks ago, we were all excited to see the bridge, and then as we passed it, we realized it was just the default scenery bridge. It was there, and it was in the right spot, and it was almost the right height, but it was just the default scenery flat bridge. And I realized that the Caribbean World Update that had just come out, I hadn't gotten it fully downloaded and installed properly. So we're going to go past that again. So we'll take off here from Curacao Airport, Hato International. We'll spin around the eastern tip of the island, and we'll come back past the city of Willemstad, and this bay comes up into the middle. This huge bridge that goes right over the bottom end of that bay, and there's a walking bridge, there's a pedestrian bridge right at the inlet, and then back in the background there's a huge automotive traffic bridge that's massive, and so hopefully if that scenery package got installed, we'll see that in its full glory this time, as we kind of dropped the ball on that for you 2.5 weeks ago. So doing a little bit of a redo. But anyway, for those of you new to the stream, we typically stream for you Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. That's about to become 2300 Zulu time once we go into daylight savings in about a week. But hopefully you'll stop back and see us. Of course, we're off of our schedule tonight. This is a Thursday, so we're a little bit off schedule this week. We're going to be off tomorrow on normal stream night, and then Saturday night we're flying in that 24 hours of VATSIM event, stage number 7, from Vancouver down to Denver. That we will fly the Boeing 787, the Kuro mod of the 787-8. But typically what you see here on the stream is old school analog style of navigation that does not involve a flight management computer or any kind of RNAV capability. And that's kind of what you're seeing tonight, indeed. All right, enough yapping. Let's get this plane up and running, guys. We are assuming that you have taken your little shuttle bus down to the beach, and you've picked up some trinkets from the locals, little crafts and stuff, t-shirts and stuff that you've bought from the locals. And we're going to take you up to the top of the flow list, and we'll get this plane started back up and get ready to do our tour. We'll show you the inlet to the city of Willemstad, and then we'll head back out to Curacao to close out the evening. So the master battery comes on, nav lights come on, avionics switch comes on, payload and payload and fuel were set at the beginning of the stream. Let's go ahead and just set a VFR flight plan. This will probably be the very last time you ever see this window on the stream. They're taking this away. The next update to vPilot that drops is going to take away this. Is going to redirect you to the web-based filing page as of tomorrow/today, as I understand it. So this might be the last time you see this little box featured on the stream. We're going to say we're going to depart at 0200. Time en route's an hour, probably not really, but we'll call it 245 left in the tanks. Cruise speed of 150 works fine. Let's call it 3,500 as we make the open water hop across. Let's call it 4,500 since we'll be westbound. The open water hop across back over to the other side. Jack, yeah. So I'll come back to that in just a moment. There's a good reason. I don't like the reason, but there is a good reason for it. So we'll just kind of make that change there. Clockwise around Curacao and then westbound, and go ahead and file that. So we actually just released a tutorial just a couple days ago, Jack, to show you guys that new, not new, but the most recent edition of that web-based filing page. And the reason, and I go into the reason on that tutorial, Jack, but the idea is that VATSIM's server infrastructure is maintained by a volunteer group of developers. And then there's 3 different pilot clients, Swift and vPilot and XPilot. And each of those are all maintained by different groups of volunteer developers. So anytime there's a change to the flight plan format, there's 4 different groups of volunteer developers who are scattered all over the world who all have to coordinate efforts and make those updates together, or the update gets made and some of it doesn't work, and there's a mismatch where update has to be made to a pilot client, or else it doesn't work with the network anymore, and it just makes it very frustrating for the user base when the things aren't updated all at the same time. But but on the other hand, these are all volunteers, and you can't just tell them that they have to drop everything and suddenly jump on and make this update. So in order to streamline the update process, there's not a real good reason to have 4 different methods of filing your flight plan when you can all do it from, everybody can just be redirected to the web page to file it. So that way, any future updates to the flight plan format only have to be made in one place, and it affects everybody. So that's the reason. Especially because now vPilot's developer is really, really involved in the community. Swift has kind of changed hands from one group of developers to another group of developers. So who knows when that update will ever be made. And then the XPilot developer, he's been fairly active, and he's an active controller. But then he goes into these big projects where he doesn't really have time to do a lot of work on VATSIM-related stuff. So, it's just respectful of all these different volunteers, kind of coordinating their efforts. Yeah, it makes sense. Not going to lie, I get it. Jack Cobalt, that's exactly what I said in my tutorial. I don't like it, but I get it. But anyway, yeah, we just released that tutorial the other day about what the minor differences are between filing through the app and filing through the web-based interface are. And so go over onto our YouTube channel and check that out. All right, anyway, we did file it through the app just now, and so we should be all set there. Let's go ahead and set our elevator trim, and then we'll check to make sure our okay, yeah, this can be set back to neutral. Let's hop down the bottom. Make sure those trims are neutral. We're good there. What else now? Let's fetch. We already know that the field elevation is pretty accurate, next to nothing there. But let's just for the sake of thoroughness, let's go ahead and get the METAR. Has it really changed? No, it's just exactly that same. No, it's a new update. 0100 Zulu now, but hasn't changed at all. 090 and 11. 27 and 23. QNH is a little bit higher now, 1015. So we'll just up that a couple notches there. All right, field elevation verified. There's no clearance to obtain. There's nobody to obtain it with. The transponder can go back into mode Charlie. We're just going to squawk 1200. Now I do believe outside of the US I should technically be squawking 7000 for VFR, but since I'm not 100% certain whether that's the case in Curacao, I know that's probably the case everywhere in Europe. I have no idea whether that's the case in Curacao. It is a Dutch island, so you figure, you know what, on the strength of that logic, I'm just going to change it. 7000 is proper VFR code outside the U.S. Most of the time, I think. Good Fixin' stopping in. How are you? And Skytation, with the follow. We got a follow there a few moments ago as well. Master Nair. I'm going to take a stab at that username, and I'm probably butchered the heck out of it. And, I'm famous for butchering Twitch usernames and place names, and if I've just made you my latest victim, then I apologize for that. Anyway, so we've got... what else here? Clearance not necessary. Squawk is set. I think I got the mode Charlie back on. We got the follow there from Pratt, Part 6. Pratt, Part 6. I don't know what happened to the first 5 parts, but welcome. Appreciate you stopping by tonight. Hope that you'll stop back and see us. Departure is just going to be a straight-out VFR eastbound, so we are good to go. Let's go ahead and get the plane fired up. Beacon lights, cow flaps can come open. And the master ignition can come on. And we will start with the number 2 engine. We will open the window. We'll get our prop lever forward. We'll get our throttle set to about 10%. And we'll get the mix to auto rich. Fuel tank will be set to, I'm going to go ahead and put it back into the right aux. And I think we've still got about 45 gallons there. So we're good there. Oh, and one thing I did not do off the runway was... turn off my carb heat, so we'll do that now. Anyway, so yeah, let's get the fuel booster on. Let's go ahead and energize that right side starter. Who's Filthy? I like it. Filthy2214. Filthy, welcome to the stream. Good to see you here. Get that engine cranked up. And here, once it stops increasing in pitch, it's time to go ahead and mesh it, meaning that the propeller will start turning. We'd wait for about 2 turns around. We'll get the magnetos on, and then we'll press and hold the primer. And there we go. Let's go ahead and adjust the RPMs, make sure that we install a sucker out. Oil pressure has come up right away. And get the RPM settled down to 10%. Once the engine is stable, go ahead and get the window closed. We can get the boost pump off and the generator on. We'll repeat the process on the number 1 side. First opening the window. Prop, throttle, and mixed. Turner Dan here. Lima back with us. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Let's see. What else we need to do? Fuel tank. Let's get that to the left aux here. And then we'll fire the sucker up. Boost pump on the left-hand side. Let's go ahead and energize the left. You'll hear it start to spin up. Yep, you can hear it there. About 7 or 8 seconds until it's spinning as fast as it's going to go. We'll go ahead and mesh it. If we were to look out the window, you'd see it spinning. You'd want to count about 2 rotations around. And then we'll get the magnetos, press and hold the primer. And that has fired up now as well. Adjust the throttle, make sure it doesn't die on us. Oil pressure's coming up. I want to over-rev it now that we get it up to speed. We'll go ahead and get that window closed. Thumco, love that sound. Boost pump can come off and generator can come on. Electricity flow, and you can check the ammeters over there. Alright, let's go ahead and recalibrate our directional gyro. It looks like we're parked at about maybe a 4 degrees left of 270 there. So let's make sure our gyro is set to match that. Looks like it's pretty far off, actually. When it spun down, it kind of got out of sync. Now we're good. Turner dances. I just had to read up a Curacao procedures. When you're within Curaçao's FIR, if there's no control providing a squawk, it's 2,000. Well, that would make sense for IFR. IFR without somebody to assign a squawk is often 2,000. That's kind of almost a universal thing. But Turner answered that the question would be is that applicable to VFR flight, because that's what we're doing here. Now it could be. The answer to that might be yes. I have no idea. But it is notable that we're VFR, not IFR. That might make a difference. Anyway, I mean, and I'm not trying to blow you off, Turner, but it doesn't specify? Okay. The other thing to note is that if there's no air traffic control in the area, it does not matter what you squawk because nobody can see it. Yeah, and Turner Dan, I don't know if you're looking at a real-world document or a VATSIM document. VATSIM documents are often written as though everybody is IFR airliners because that is just so often truly the case. So anyway, there's no ATC on. There's really no need to stress over it. Nobody can see what we're squawking anyway. Nobody around to see it. Where was I? It was published by the. I don't know what. No idea what that acronym is. Is that a real world aviation body? I just have no idea what it is. Anyway, so directional gyro was set. Flight controls we already know were checked. Flaps will go ahead and set 1/4. Taxi route, we're basically going to be taxiing straight out to the west and then taking off to the east, so over our right shoulder there. We go ahead and unlock the taxi wheel. Parking brake can come off, and we'll go ahead and hold the brakes. So that is the Dutch Carribean Air Navigation Service Provider. So the real-world resource. Okay, interesting. Whatever. Like I said, I'll leave it at 7,000, and if a controller pops onto VATSIM, I'm just here for a good time. Yeah, no, it's all good, man. I appreciate I appreciate the guidance. If a controller were to pop onto VATSIM and want us to squawk a certain code, we'd be happy to do it. Brakes are checked. Fuel boosters can come on for our departure. Yeah, we'll get rolling here. Hato traffic, Douglas 514 Delta Victor's taxiing out to runway 11 Alpha. We're going to depart out VFR to the east. Hato, Hato. We don't think we really kind of conclusively determined the correct pronunciation either. Again, if a tree falls in the forest and there's no controller to see what it's squawking, what was its landing rate? The side view is tripping me out with how leaned back it is. Yeah, I know, exactly, right? We're pitched up at about a good 20 degrees there, maybe. Nah, maybe not 20 degrees. But yeah, it's significantly pitched up when you're taxiing along nose high. It makes me tilt my head subconsciously. It makes me, yeah, likewise. Yeah, absolutely. Through some steep turns, you guys you'll watch my head tip over. It literally is a thing here. You guys can't see it. I'm sitting in front of a pretty sizable monitor, so the feeling of like the whole room tilting definitely happens sometimes. We've definitely done our brake check. Brakes are working. What else we want to do on the taxi? We can go ahead and hit the fuel boosters. Get ready for those are going to be on during our departure and our arrival, which I forgot to do during our arrival here. Pitot heat can come on. I think we'll forego the run up here. there's no departure frequency, so. When we get rolling, 48 and 27 is our first power setting. Then as soon as we get rotated, 42 and 25 is our next power setting. Basically, the idea in these big radials, we're going to set 48 on the manifold and 2700 RPMs. From the time you set your takeoff power to the time you land, you should be reducing your power 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Oops. Reducing your power 5 times total throughout your flight. That's it. You don't want to constantly be yanking this power up and down like you would in a single engine piston or a jet. Oh, Turner Dan, you got to duck out? Yeah, no, it's a little late, man. I appreciate you hanging out with us, though. Good talking with you. Thanks very kindly. We'll see you. But yeah, anyway, as I was saying, we're going to set 48 and 27. There's a reduction as soon as we get off the runway, and there's a reduction into our extended climb power, and then there's a reduction to cruise. And then there's a 2-stage reduction for the descent also. So unless something goes horribly wrong, you'll increase the power once, and then you'll reduce it 5 distinct times, and then you land. These giant radials do not like to be... yeah, they like to be set at a certain power setting and then left there. Very temperature and stress sensitive, these things. Hado traffic, Douglas 514 Delta Victor's departing runway 11 VFR straight out eastbound, Hado. And we're going to level off fairly low. We're probably going to level it off at 1500 for the tour portion here. Let's go strobes, landing and taxi. Pito's already on. We get lined up, we get the tail wheel. Sorted out, and then we get our tail wheel locked. It's nice long displaced threshold that kind of makes life a little easier here for us. Alright, tail wheel's locked. Power's coming to 48. Tail's coming up. See if we can gently coax her back over on the center line there. Oh, she wants to just come up off. Okay, there we go. Actually airborne before we got to the threshold. Gear coming up. Let's rotate, let's pitch for 100. And as soon as we can, get the power pulled back into 42 and 25. So let's make sure we're not going to stall her out. Slow us down, get the speed back up to 100. There we are. Flaps will come in. Hado traffic, Douglas 5.4 Delta Victor, clear runway 11, VFR straight out to the east, Hado. Okay, so now we're pitched for 100. 42 on the manifold, 25 on the RPMs. I'll get you an outside view, Pratt. Give me a second. Try not to crash the plane first here. Get her up to about 1,500. We'll go ahead and level her off. 28 and 20.5. Down to 28. .5. And we're still climbing. I'm gonna. Ooh, we're getting blown around. A little gusty over here. They get the flaps in. Yeah, we can get the cowls can come closed. Mixed to auto lean. The boosters can come off. What else? Cowls, boosters, auto lean, landing and taxi lights can come off as well. Okay. Alright, very good. Yeah, we'll pop an outside view of the plane for you. Whoops. Let's get a better outside view of the plane for you. It's not nose down here. Fortunately, I drive the plane a little better than I drive the camera. There we are. And then around the eastern end of the island we go. Temps and pressure's all looking good. We're at 28 on the manifold, 20.5 on the RPMs, and we're settling back into 1,500 feet. And we're looking southbound into the city. Now I can't remember if it's this inlet or this inlet. I do think it might be the one further over here to the west. Friend, oh yeah, this is the Duckworks DC-3 mod. You said, your question was, do you have the free enhancement from the marketplace? I don't know that I have the free enhancement from the marketplace, but I have the Duckworks mod that's available on flightsim.to. I don't know if that's the same one, but that's what we have here. So anyway, as we get in, and I'm not sure whether it's, again, it might be this, or it might be this. I think it actually looks like it might be this. So the city of Willemstad on Curacao, it's cut in half. The west side and the east side are separated from each other by a giant bay. Oh, I know, the exterior views sound way better from the rear view. Yeah, I know. A little better here. A little better here with the radials going. But the city of Willemstad is essentially cut in half by this fairly sizable bay, which they call the St. Anna Bay, that comes right up through the middle of the city. Looks very much like this, except it's over there. On the south side of that bay, the inlet side of that bay, is a pedestrian footbridge. And it is actually a movable pedestrian footbridge. They can move it to allow boat traffic in and out of the harbor. And then further inland is a massive automotive bridge that goes from the west side to the east side of the city. Huge bridge. Painted very boldly in a bright blue with yellow trim. I called it the IKEA bridge. It is actually painted in the colors of the Curacao flag, which is related to the colors of the Dutch flag. As both Curacao and Aruba are independent in many regards, but they do have affiliation with the Netherlands. I forget what they referred to them as. Independent Iowan states or something like that. So they are Dutch, and they use Dutch currency, and they are politically they are connected. They have some reporting, political reporting, political governance, I should say, to the Netherlands, but they are independent for the most part. But as we come back past Willemstad, and again, when I did this same trip 2.5 weeks ago, we found that the world update, I had not properly installed the world update for the Caribbean islands, and came back later to the list of enhanced landmarks, and the Queen Juliana Bridge was listed on, and I was like, oh my goodness, if I had just done that correctly, we would have had a nice, gorgeous view of that bridge coming past. Well, we do have it now. We will have it now, fingers crossed. We did have the California Lighthouse over on Aruba, so I'm hopeful that the Juliana Bridge will be working here as well. But we're going to come right past the harbor of the St. Anna Bay into Willemstad, and we'll see the huge Juliana Bridge, and we should see that pedestrian footbridge out by the entrance of the harbor as well. So we'll check that out in just a moment. In the meantime, we got a follow there from Iron Surfboard. Iron Surfboard, thank you very kindly. Guys, we are ever inching so closer to 4,000 followers on the Twitch live stream. And when we hit that total, now the profile says we're at it now. It's rounding up a little bit. When we do officially hit 4,000, we're probably about maybe about a dozen shy at the moment. We will definitely celebrate by putting a nice big giveaway on the schedule. But thank you guys for the continued support of the channel. We're a general aviation live stream focusing on that old school analog style of navigation. We occasionally break that mold. 2 days from now, we're going to break that mold. We're going to fly the Kuro mod of the 787 2 days from now. But most often, we're flying general aviation, and we're doing that old school analog style of navigation for you, more often than not. Full show schedules down, and underneath the About tab, we fly for you, or we stream for you, I should say, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. And we do some VATSIM air traffic control on the stream as well. Okay, so this must not be, yeah, because this is all grassy. Okay, so here's the city further up. Intentionally kind of losing some altitude here to a nice low pass over the city. LavaCast says, I'm hoping to be available Saturday to welcome you into Denver, doing some ground control there for the event. Yeah, so Saturday we're doing stage 7 of the 24 hours of VATSIM event. That's Vancouver to Denver in that Kuro mod of the 787. So looking forward to that. Okay, so we are still not quite at the main harbor for the city. Guess we've got one more to go here. Oh, I think I saw the bridge. Anyway, so we did this bus tour, my wife and I, when we were down there a few months ago. And we stopped at one, like, inner city, old school, 70-year-old hole-in-the-wall bar, like storefront bar. And then we stopped. The second stop was a mid to upscale restaurant bar and grill, patio area. And then the third bar that we stopped at was one of the beach resorts. I think was right along this stretch here as we're curving down back into the city from the west. Maybe like right along in here. Oh, there's the Juliana Bridge. Look at it. There we are. That's how it's supposed to look, guys. This is not how it looked when we did this 2.5 weeks ago. So there's the Juliana Bridge, and that is massive. And then the pedestrian footbridge down here. They actually, when traffic needs to leave and enter the harbor, they actually move this whole footbridge, floating footbridge, out of the way, and then they can get boat traffic in and out of the harbor, and goes under this massive, massive bridge. So that's perfect. That's awesome. Yeah, this is a really, really beautiful little visit that we were able to do when we got down there. And it really does look this colorful, guys. It's and the beach resort that we stopped at for the third stop at Pride, this looks familiar. Like we parked up here and we walked down, and the beach resort bar was like right down in there somewhere. Yeah, that looks fairly familiar. Or maybe this complex here. One of these beach bars right here as you come back into the maybe further up. Now I'm at 400 feet. Maybe I ought to climb a little bit. Manifold pressure 36. RPMs, I think, at 23. Yeah, and since we are getting ready to make our open water hop back over to Aruba, I think it's probably appropriate to go ahead and pick up some altitude anyway. Since we're increasing power, let's go ahead and put those back in trail. Let's put those back in auto rich. Probably not a bad idea for me to check on our fuel situation. We've still got 30 gallons. So 36 and 23.5 is a good climb power. So I got the manifolds on 36, 23.5. Yeah, we're doing good here. So we'll go ahead and take it up to 4,500, and then let's figure out what are we doing from a standpoint of navigating back. If I take that out, TNC. Well, you know what? I don't even know that I need to put in the destinations. But if we go from this point here, and we're going westbound, and we want to kind of pick up that point there, 50 miles on a 298. So that'll do. So there's that little bay that I just marked. So let's go 50 miles on a 298. We'll take her up to about 4,500. No, we'll just turn it to 300 on the head. As a matter of fact, what we'll do is we'll set our target heading to 300 there. And that'll just help us visually kind of navigate that. 50 miles, if we're doing 2.5 miles a minute once we level out. What's that, 20 minutes, right? 9:25 now. So 20 minutes times 2.5. 20 times 2 is another is 40. 20 times a half is 10. 40 and 10 is 50. 50 miles. Okay. So 20 minutes. So about quarter till the hour. We should make landfall. Actually, can kind of see some land up ahead right now. Although that to our left, that very well might be the coast of Venezuela. I'll show you again for those of you joining late. These islands are really, really close to the Venezuelan coast. Certainly the furthest south I've ever been in my lifetime. Alright, so there's 300 on the heading. Yeah, off that far off to the left, that's got to be Venezuela over there. I'll show you again on the map how close these are to South America. That's how far down we are, guys. So friend all had said the marketplace also offers 2 DC-3 Berlin airlift missions for $15. Yeah, I haven't toyed around with the missions system in Flight Sim 2020. You know, obviously, friend all, I'm mostly flying on the VATSIM network, so I'm flying with VATSIM air traffic control, and if VATSIM air traffic controller gives me a heading or an instruction, I've got to follow it regardless of what the MSFS mission says I should do. So when we fly on the network, you can't really have competing instructions, you know. Now, by that same token, though, VATSIM's Germany division did at one point organize a Berlin airlift commemorative group flight, commemorative event. I missed out on it. I didn't hear about it until after it happened, but we have kind of reenacted that flight a couple times on the stream. Once was as part of the Mediterranean tour that we took our Douglas on, multi-stream Mediterranean tour, and we incorporated a revival of that Berlin airlift mission as part of that on the VATSIM network. We did not have VATSIM air traffic control for that, but we were still able to do that. At the time, we were flying the AeroWorks DC-3 in X-plane, I believe. And there was a custom scenery package that you had to install in order to have all of the old vintage nav aids that were required to navigate that specific corridor that you had to fly. You had to fly a very specific corridor during that Berlin airlift mission. And as long as you flew that corridor, the I want to say it was Russian or was it considered Soviet Union at that time? I'm a little foggy on my history. But as long as you stayed on that route and did not deviate from it, you were left alone by the aggressors. If you deviated from that route, the aggressors assumed that you were trying to sneak something past them and do something nefarious. But if you stayed specifically on that route, they would leave you alone. And as I recall, there were a couple of civilian aviator casualties during that mission. A couple of minor incidents, a couple of major incidents, but there were no. There was no life lost due to acts of aggression during that mission that I recall. Chili Willie's here. Chili Willie, welcome back to the stream. Good to see you. But anyway, yeah, so we have done that Berlin airlift flight, I think, twice on the stream. And like I said, it did require some custom nav aids. But we used the reference material that had all been published by VATSIM's Germany division when they had organized that massive group flight to do it. I have been kind of half keeping an eye on the events calendar to see if they would ever do something like that again. I have not seen anything to that effect, but man, wouldn't it have been fun to do that as a massive conga line just like the actual airlift. We got Don Sweeper with the follow just a few moments ago. Sorry I didn't say thank you at the time, but then there just moments ago, Tetracat. Tetracat is with us. Thank you very kindly, both of you, for the follows. We are not usually on Thursday nights. Typical show schedule is Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We focus the channel on that old-school analog style of radio-based navigation when we're not even really doing that tonight. We're just doing some dead reckoning. Heading and a stopwatch is what we're doing tonight as far as our navigation. We've left this little bump in the island. We're doing 50 miles westbound on a specific heading, and we should see an island ahead of us, and we kind of do. And we know that we're going to go about another 14 minutes, and we can kind of see where we're going to end up here. Would be cool to do, since Slavica, maybe someone knows someone else to get it going or try it again. Yeah, I might have. I got to think about that. There's a chance I do have some contacts in VATSIM's Germany division. They've gotten a little more cautious, Slavica, and maybe the reason that we haven't seen it lately. They've gotten a little more cautious about anything that's kind of got any kind of political undertones to it. You know, regardless of the fact that it was a humanitarian mission, not a military mission. It was done by civilians, so yeah, there's probably some gray area there. You know, but it was during a time of hostility. It was a reaction to a time of hostility. So I don't know. Folks have gotten a little more sensitive to that kind of thing on VATSIM as of late. So I don't know if it's just something that we maybe would ever see again on VATSIM, or maybe we could organize some sort of a group multiplayer flight to do it. I don't know. It's worth asking. It doesn't fall squarely into reenactment of hostilities. It definitely was a humanitarian aid mission. It was a supply mission. While there were political hostilities going on, that's the line. But yeah, and it was one of history's greatest feats of aviation, for sure. Still stands as one of history's greatest feats of aviation. But anyway, as we were saying to the new folks who have stopped in tonight, thank you very kindly for stopping in. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time is our normal show schedule. Mostly doing general aviation, mostly staying away from flight management computers and RNAV capability, GPSs, and that sort of thing. Not 100% true, because on Saturday we're going to be flying the Kuro mod of the 787-8. We're going to be flying in Stage 7 of VATSIM's 24 Hours of VATSIM event. We're going to be flying in the stage from Vancouver down to Denver. So we're off our schedule this week. We're on tonight when we ordinarily wouldn't be. We're off tomorrow when we ordinarily would be on. And then we're going to be on Saturday when we ordinarily wouldn't be on. But anyway, check out that full show schedule. It's listed out for you down underneath the About tab. It's also over on our Discord server. We are inching ever so close to the 4,000 follower threshold. I know the profile says I have it already. I am actually a few shy yet. But when we hit 4,000, we will give you a week to 10 days notice, and we will schedule a big giveaway night in celebration of 4,000 Twitch followers. And we do appreciate all the continued support of the stream. But by the way, we leveled out at 4,500, and I'm still picking up altitude, but I never did reduce back to cruise power. So let's get the manifold back down to 28. RPM's back down to 20 and a half. Cals can go back to closed. Mix can go back to auto. lean. And I think it might be time to go ahead and start just thinking about, I don't want to accidentally burn these tanks all the way out to nothing. I think it's time to go ahead and switch to the mains for the rest of the flight. Oh yeah, see you later, Lava Cow. Hopefully we'll get to talk to you Saturday. If not, we'll catch you on the next one. We'll go ahead and get the booster pumps on. Going to go from the... And here's our fuel pressure gauge, by the way. We'll watch for any fluctuation in that. Right aux to right main. Fuel pressure still good. Left aux to left main, fuel pressure still good. Fuel boost pumps off. Fuel pressure still good, okay. So we said we would be making landfall at about 9:45. It's 9:36 now, and this definitely does seem to be a massive landmass ahead of us. Now, interestingly, though, there's a massive landmass up here to our left that seems to connect to this. I have a feeling I'm off course, guys. I have a feeling we're looking at this. Have I drifted that far off? Yeah, something is wrong. Yeah, my directional gyro, look at this, guys. My directional gyro is way off. At some point, I've messed with this setting without realizing. I've been flying a 300. No, I'm not pressing the B key. That's cheating. How are you, Smitty? Yeah, but look at this, look at this. I somehow have set that directional gyro so far off that we've wound up way south of course here. Where are we actually? I'm down here. So we got 43 miles to go northbound. Alright, well, I'm going to turn northbound according to the magnetic compass, and then we'll get our directional gyro sorted out here. Set the target heading basically just to due north. Fortunately, well, number one, I did just switch to the mains, so we've got plenty of fuel to go on our journey here. And second of all, though, we're 43 miles is not the end of the world here. Yeah, it looks like if we parallel this coast, we're going to end up pointing right toward our destination. So we'll be okay. Well, let's get the plane straight and level, and then let's just take a peek. It looks like we're flying about a 335 right now. Let's make sure our directional gyro reflects that. Yeah, I don't know how I got that far off. 335 is this way. Yeah, that is insane. So, you know what I may have done, guys? When we shut the plane down and restarted it, I may have may have just accidentally skipped that step. When the gyros spin down and then you start the plane back up, sometimes they come up on just a random heading, not at all related to where they were last set. One of the semi-realistic functions of the aircraft. You know, a lot of your sim aircraft, they won't do that. They'll come back up right to where they were before you shut it off. You know, the Duckworks, presumably, has that as a realistic feature, whereas when it spins down and then it spins back up on the restart, may not be anywhere in relation to where it was when it was shut down. But it's alright, 43 miles. And, you know, we were kind of where the neck of that, little land bridge was. Now we're coming up on this area where this little bay is. So I would say, just visually speaking, we appear to be right about here. So 28 miles to go. We're not doing bad. We're fine. Yeah, Dead Parrot says that's realistic gyro is a superb feature. Agreed, 100%. 100%. Beauty of the sim, guys. The beauty of the sim is being able to make these mistakes and not jeopardize yourself, you know. How do you resynchronize the gyro and compass? Well, the compass is what it is now. It's going to a real wet compass is if you've ever tried to do hiking. You know that a real compass does a lot more kind of bobbing and weaving around than the sim compass does. But it's really just a matter of getting the plane nice and stable and steady on a heading. Make sure that it's not bobbing and weaving around too much. Get a good vantage on dead center. So right now we're flying about a 344, 345. Alright, so all you got to do is just twist this knob until the directional gyro matches it. It's a couple degrees off maybe. Set it to there. Atmos Chem, have you accounted for declination? Well, no, you don't need to. We're not looking. We're not interested in the difference between magnetic and true, right? Anything that we do on even the directional gyro is going to be set to magnetic heading, if that's what you're referring to. So yeah, we're not really interested in that. I don't care about what the true heading versus the magnetic heading is. I just want these to agree to each other. That's all. But friend, it's not terribly difficult. It's not there's not a quote unquote process to it. The only process to it is just simply getting the plane steady so that your traditional magnetic compass just reads steady. The sim magnetic compasses just read too steady. The real ones will bob and weave around quite a bit. So sometimes you have to just kind of figure out what the average is, and go with as close as you can get it. You know, the nice thing about what we're doing today, look like about a 340 and about a 340. Yeah, we're close enough. The nice thing about what we're doing today is we're flying mostly visually. So you know what I mean? You know, I can set this to where I'm going parallel to this coast, and parallel to this coast is going to take me pretty much into my destination at this point. Almost a straight shot into the destination. So, you know, again, navigating visually, the heading doesn't need to be 1 degree precise. Friend to all, the gyro compass somehow got about 60 degrees off. By the time I was leaving the island of Curacao, I thought I was doing this, but it turns out I was doing this. That's a pretty big difference. It was 60 degrees off. It is possible that it was off the entire time since I restarted the plane and circled around the east end of the island, because as I circled around the island, wasn't really looking at it. I was looking at the terrain. I was navigating 100% purely visually. So once we transitioned from where we were navigating purely visually to navigating by a dead reckoning, that was when the difference in the actual versus the gyroscopic compass came into play, and that was where I started to go wrong. But when I was navigating purely via our reference against the land, we knew exactly where we were. I wasn't even looking at the instruments. I was looking at the ground features. Was the compass already off by then? I don't know, but probably. I can't imagine me getting it 60 degrees off in the middle of the flight and not noticing that. Yeah, Dead Parrot says it's a step you're supposed to do every 15 minutes. Yeah, the directional gyros do gradually process out of alignment. So realigning the gyro is something that you should do periodically. And yeah, I've heard 15 minutes, I've heard 20 minutes. 15 minutes is easy enough. It's, at each quarter hour. Yeah, your VOD is your flight data recorder, says friend. Oh, yeah, exactly. So I think once we watch the video back, we'll probably notice, friend to all, that when I shut the plane down at Curacao and then started it back up, I most likely skipped the step of recalibrating that directional gyro. Now, one thing that we do need to do here. Looks like we need to probably drop below this cloud layer. Yammering on, not paying attention. To be legal in terms of VFR, now this is VFR Class Echo airspace in the U.S. I'm not sure what the airspace regulations are elsewhere. I believe that this is universal in Class Echo airspace. However, I don't know 100% that I'm in Class Echo airspace. But customary VFR cloud clearance requirements are that you are either 1,000 feet above cloud tops or 500 feet below cloud bases or 2,000 feet laterally from any clouds. And 2,000 feet, keep in mind, is 1/3 of a statute mile. 1/3 of a statute mile ain't much. You think about a very short runway being 2,000 feet, and that's how far you need to be laterally from clouds. So are we completely VFR legal here? Probably not. It does look like my destination is looming up ahead, so that's fine. We'll do our best to keep it in sight. I'm going to go ahead and reduce power to that first stage of descent. Remember, we're not making a whole bunch of power adjustments here. 21 and 20 and a half. So 21 on the manifold. 20 and a half is already kind of set, so let the plane kind of descend on its own. We picked up some airspeed in the descent here. Not necessarily a bad thing. The furry co-pilots say hello, by the way. And since we are in reduced power and descent, we'll go ahead and apply a little bit of carb heat here. Make sure we keep those carb temps up into the green. Especially with some signs of visible moisture here. You want to keep those carb temps up in the green. Otherwise, your manifold pressure is going to start dropping, and you're not going to understand why, and that will be not an instant fix. So 21, 20 and a half. We're down at 1,500 feet. Let's just go ahead and keep that now. Ooh, nice little wind shift there. Valves can stay closed. We can go ahead back into auto rich now. Landing lights can come on. Okay. And then once we do the second reduction, ooh, let's not fall out of the sky. Once we do the second reduction, we got a 19 on the manifold, 1900 on the RPMs. That's when we'll get the fuel boosters on. Let's keep it to about 1,500 feet for right now. Back over to TNCA for our maps. Landing on 11. It's going to be a right-hand turnoff if we get down to Foxtrot. Keeps wanting to fall out of the sky on me here, guys. We're under 150, so we can throw gear and flaps out at any point here. But we don't want to do that just yet. Where is our airport, by the way? It's kind of a good portion of the way up to the west here. Probably this right through here. So we'll swing it around to the left, and that way we can kind of make a nice wide right-hand pattern into runway 11. Alright, let's see if we can do a better job with the speed and altitude management and the flare this time. Go ahead and set the pointer to 1-1, or what is the magnetic heading there? 115. Kind of just help us point, make sure we're pointed in the right direction for the runway. And then let's check our current. We're at a 325, it looks like right now. And there we go. So there you go. Friend, you were asking about the process. It's pretty much just that. eyeball this and then adjust this to match it. So I believe if I'm looking at this little barrier island, I think the airport's right here. This little barrier island here, and then the approach end to 1-1 is just on the west end of that barrier island. Picking up some extra altitude again, so we're up at 1,700 feet. Yeah, I think that's the runway right there. Alright guys, you can start putting some predictions into the chat as far as the vertical descent rate upon touchdown. No bot command necessary, just a number, positive or negative, into the chat represents your guesses to the descent rate in terms of feet per minute at the moment the wheels touch runway surface. Whoever is closest, above or below, get an automatic entry into our monthly landing rate raffle. We're going to draw that on March I think it's the 30th, the very last stream of the month. Oh yeah, Dead Parrot, yeah, I know. The gyro pilot was slaved to the mag compass, not the gyro compass. Yeah, and I don't know if the Duckworks was like that as well, or if the Duckworks fixed that. This obviously is a mod from the default plane. So I don't know if the Duckworks mod fixed that, or if the same was true of the Duckworks mod version, but... Yeah, I don't even engage the gyro pilot in this aircraft. So we got 19 and 19. I got the booster pumps on. Beatrix traffic. Douglas 514 Delta Victor's on a wide right downwind runway 11 full stop. Beatrix. Nice gentle descent going. We are below 150. I will go ahead and get the gear out. Altitude management's fine. We're going to be mostly doing speed management. And again, 19 and 19, we're really going to try not to set the power any further. We're going to try and do all of the rest of this speed management, all just by using flaps and gear. Beatrix traffic, Douglas 514 Delta Victor's on a right base, about a 2-mile right base, runway 11 Beatrix. That speed's down to 120. We want to get that speed to about 95 on final, about 80 once we touch down. Get our taxi lights on, assuming that we've got landing clearance at this point. Nobody here to tell us not. So ELW, there is what they call a VATSIM AIP on my.vatsim.net, where you'll be able to look up which is the correct frequency to use at any given airport. That was definitely one of the points of contention of going to this process. But every VAT USA facility had to submit what they call the AIP for their facility. Aeronautical Information Publication, basically the AIP, I think probably more properly. But my.vatsim.net has that document on it. That's how you'll be able to determine it. Keep those predictions coming, guys. The last call is going to be when we get lined up for final here, which is coming up here in just a few. Man, feeling like at 1/4 flaps I'm already down at 90 knots. And 900 feet, 800 feet falling out of the sky, yeah. RPM's a little low. Get it back up to 19. Manifold's a little low. Get it to 19. But yeah, having trouble maintaining speed and altitude here. Might need to pull the gear back in even. Alright, speed's coming back up, and we're Beatrix traffic, Douglas 514 Delta Victor's on about a 3-mile based, right base to final, runway 11 full stop, Beatrix. Yeah, I've got no flaps in, guys. I'm still barely able to maintain altitude. Something wrong? Some pressure's all still looking okay. Cals are supposed to be closed at this stage. Nicely lined up on final. We're down to 100 knots. I want to be 95 down final, 80 on touchdown, and I'm at flap 0. I'm not sure why. Although I expect what will happen is because I'm coming in flat, so I expect what will happen is once we get to the point where I do need to start descending again, we're going to pick up some airspeed, and I'm going to have to throw those flaps right back out. They're getting blown off to the right pretty well. I did say I was nicely lined up, and at the time I was. Yeah, Dead Parrot. I actually had this debate with a guy that had participated in a DC-3 flight across the Atlantic and stopped in Greenland, and he said that they typically didn't do that unless they were sure they were really going to need it for performance. Yeah, so as expected, now that we're trying to descend for the runway, that speed's coming up, and we got to throw the flaps out and get that drag deployed here. So yeah, I got too much altitude off too quickly, and then nearly got myself in trouble. That alignment fixed. 90 knots, right about where we want to be. Pretty well cross-controlled here. Last knock of flaps coming in. This is looking a little better, but we're very cross-controlled, so. I'm happy with it, but it's not over yet. Heck of a crosswind. And we're going to roll it down to Foxtrot and make a right turn. Okay, yeah, whew, very, very crosswindy. Got it down okay. A little bit bouncy, but not too terribly firm. I thought once I once I figured out my early loss of altitude issue and got that sorted out, that wasn't too badly executed. It's me and Stu, neck and neck finish. Lost our disconnection. I lost our connection to the VATSIM server there. That's okay, we're done anyway. Oh my goodness, it's our very good friend Cross Hyper stopping in with the raid.
Yeah.
Just as we touched down, so I apologize for the timing there. We're just getting ready to wrap up for the evening. Whoa, 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 whoa. Just getting ready to wrap up for the evening, my friends, so I apologize for the bad timing, but thank you very kindly for the support. Folks coming over here from Cross Hyperverse stream, well, first of all, you got great days, because he's awesome. But what we've got here is a general aviation stream, for the most part. Now, Saturday we're going to be doing some airliner flying for you, a little bit of a anomaly. Flaps, get all that stuff cleaned up. Bear with me, guys, 1 second. I'll come back to that thought in just a moment. And the fuel boost pumps can come off as well. I think I got everything off the runway there. But anyway, so yeah, mostly what we do for you, general aviation flying, and occasionally we break that mold, we do some airliner stuff. Mostly non-RNAV, so you won't see too much going on in this channel with a GPS or a flight management computer. Doing most of that old school analog style of radio-based navigation. That's what we focus the channel on here. And mix of old and new. We also do some VATSIM air traffic control for you from time to time on the channel, but very rarely will you see an FMC or a GPS. Like I said, Saturday is going to be a rare exception to that. Alright, let's get the RPMs down. I'll run through the shutdown checklist, and then we'll go over the raffle winners here. But anyway, so typically on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, and the full show schedule's down there underneath the About tab. It's also over on our Discord server. Yeah, I hadn't got a chance to respond to your message, Cross. Just explaining to your friends that you brought over here. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. So we're not normally on Thursdays, and we're not normally on Saturdays. A little off our normal schedule this week. But check out the full show schedule down underneath the About tab. That'll let you know what days we're going to be on, what days we're going to be off. And also kind of gives you a heads up as to what we're going to be doing on any specific day. Stop back and see us on Saturday at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We're going to be flying the Curacao mod of the 787 from Vancouver to Denver. It's part of the VATSIM 24 Hours of VATSIM event, stage number 7. We'll be doing that in the Curacao mod 787. Oh, and you're doing that an early one on Sunday for that event. Oh, very cool, man. Well, we're doing completely separate stages of that event, but hope that you have a good one. We're going to get ours knocked out on Saturday evening. All right, let's go ahead and get the plane shut down. Let's see who our raffle entrant is, and cross the other two big pieces of exciting news for us. Number one is that we are inching ever so close to 4,000 followers. When we hit that threshold, we'll be scheduling a massive celebration and giveaway. So, yeah, I think we're just a few away from 4,000 at this point, and we'll do a celebration. But we'll give you guys a week and a half, 2 weeks notice on that, so you can plan to be here and participate in the giveaways for whatever date we end up getting that scheduled for. The second big one is the March Madness giveaway. We got starting on March the 17th. We'll be soliciting your entries for your bracket challenge. We use the ESPN bracket site for that. Between Sunday the 17th and whatever that Thursday is, get your bracket submitted. Make sure you're in our Discord server so we know which bracket belongs to which participant. Free to enter, and prizes up to a possible $100 for first place in that tournament challenge. It starts on March the 17th. So, and then of course our normal landing rate raffle, which we'll figure out who our latest entrant to that was here in just a moment. Let's get the plane shut down, get everybody back on their shuttle bus, headed back over to their cruise ship as we have just wrapped up our island cruise excursion tour. We always say we guarantee that you'll see an island during your island cruise excursion or your money back, and if you're looking at the screen right now, we have met our guarantee to you. Oh, Cross, yeah, definitely. You're part of our Discord server. I've got some tips and tricks for first-time participants. It's really not difficult to do. Because it's such a mathematically driven tournament, there's really, you don't have to know a lot about basketball in order to get a reasonable entry in. So definitely check it out. We'd love to have you participate. Like I said, free to enter, so there's nothing to lose. Top prize is up to possible $100. Anyway, all right, let's get the shutdown done, guys. Hang on. Lost my mouse cursor and all the hoopla there. Let's go ahead. We got the taxi. Yeah, taxi lights off, parking brake on, tail wheel. We can go back into the locked position. Let's get the throttles closed. Mixes to cut off. As soon as we see that the engines have fully died, we'll see the manifold pressure kind of pop back up to ambient baro there. Sometimes we got to give them a little help by shutting the magnetos off. There we go. Now they're shut off. Now we can get the prop levers the rest of the way down. Prop levers, generators, and fuel selectors can come off as well. But yeah, definitely check out that tournament challenge, Cross. It is possible to place in that even if you know absolutely nothing about college basketball. Fuel selectors off. We'll go ahead and get our transponder reset. I'm just going to go ahead and set it to 2000 here, and back to off. And we don't really need to check. I mean, we'll check our fuel just to make sure we didn't burn out. We got the mains down to. I mean, we got the auxes down to below 20. But we still had about 70 gallons in the mains there, so no big issues with fuel. We didn't really do proper fuel planning. Plus, we took a little bit of a detour tonight anyway. Yep, so we're good there. Let's go ahead and get the cow flaps closed. The beacon light can come off. The nav lights can come off. Master ignition can come off. Avionics and master battery. And we are fully closed up shop here in our Duckworks DC-3. And then let's go ahead and figure out who our landing rate raffle winner was for that second and final landing of the evening. Again, with entries go into our monthly landing rate raffle, and we pull the winners of that on the last stream. And I think we're going to shift it a little bit. Well, I always say toward the end of the month. I think we're going to start doing it on the very last stream of the month, since it's just the one drawing, and I don't have to handwrite out the tickets on the night of anymore like the Alphabets raffle used to be done. So I think we'll just do it on the last stream of the month every single month from now on. Let us see. Who was the, what was the number that registered? We did have one bounce this time, so if you had the over-under at a 1.5, hopefully you took the under. Normal and a tail dragger, that's fine. 21, not slight left to right. We noticed we had to be way over to the left in order to stay on center line. And 83 feet per minute was what registered. That's not bad at all. I'm happy with that. We'll take it. 83 was the number. Where were you guys with your guesses? 80 ELW came in with an opening bid at 80. That's going to be tough to beat. 173, 58, 122. Yeah, that looks like it's going to be ELW. Unless I'm missing one, let me know if there's anybody that was closer than 3 away. It looks like it's going to be ELW 124 at TNCA on Leap Year Day, February 29th. Happy Leap Year Day, guys. All right, friends. Well, thank you very much for flying along and riding along with us this evening on our Slant Alpha Island Cruise excursion. Glad to report that we did meet our guarantee to you, and we did make sure that you did see at least one island during your island cruise excursion, so appreciate that. Thanks for all of you who followed, all the new followers this evening. Thanks to everybody who subscribed, and the gift subs are totally appreciated. The cheer bits and the donations. Like I always say, and we got another follow. Sehal, thank you very kindly. Ever so closer, man. Let me just check. I know the profile says that I already have 4,000, but it is rounding up. But let me see if I can get a bead on exactly how many we have at this second. We are 5 away. Okay. Well, I'm fingers crossed we'll get that on Saturday. But yeah, 5 away from actually hitting 4,000. So thank you for all the new followers tonight. Man, we had a good number of them and a couple of good raids coming in this evening. Thank you for the continued support, guys. As we always say, that the money that comes into the stream isn't something I do for a living. It's not even something I do for a side income. The money comes back to you in terms of all these fun giveaways that we do. The monthly drawings for the landing rate raffle, with the prize being $25 gift card to Amazon, xplane.org, or store, or Sim Market, or the Slant Alpha merch. And then we got the big giveaway that we'll do for the 4,000 follower celebration, probably $400 in total prizes for 4,000 followers. That's the way we normally do that math. And then we got a top prize of up to $100 possible in the March Madness giveaway. So lots of prizes coming up for you on the stream, and thank you for the continued support to help me offset the cost for all that stuff. It's for fun, and you guys really do take good care of me for something that I would do anyway. So thank you kindly. The full show schedule down under the About tab. We talked about the next stream coming up, which is Saturday. Again, off of our normal schedule this week, but we'll be on Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, so the usual start time, 787-8 Kuromod, in the 7th stage of the 24 Hours of VATSIM at Vancouver, heading down to Denver. So I hope that you'll be able to join us for that if we're feeling froggy. And depending on how many delays we hit out of Vancouver, may even do a second leg for you that night, depending on how things go. But we'll see you at normal time, but 1 day late, Saturday instead of Friday. Full show schedule under the About tab, as we mentioned. Over on our YouTube channel, rather, all of our flights are archived over there. But we've also got a playlist called VATSIM Tutorials. And you want to check that out if you're considering getting on the VATSIM network and you're not sure what to say to controllers or how to put routes together, how to read sectionals, how to choose a call sign, equipment code. Definitely check all of that information out. We just days ago published a brand new tutorial to that playlist in terms of the flight plan filing, because our vPilot flight plan filing in-app window is about to disappear starting 24 hours from now, maybe less. So once that happens, oh, you know what? That might be why I got disconnected. My version of vPilot suddenly no longer allowed on the network, probably. So we're going to have to update vPilot next time we fire it up, and you're going to lose the ability. You know what? Let's test that out. That might be exactly what happened. No, just a random disconnect, because it didn't say anything about an update. But this flight plan box that we got right here, the next update that's supposed to happen less than 24 hours from now, we are about to lose this pop-up window. It's going to redirect us to the web-based filing page, just like XPilot currently does. And the idea is to streamline the process for VATSIM developers to make changes to the flight plan format. That way, 3 other pilot clients don't also have to make that change simultaneously, since all of the pilot clients are simply going to redirect to the web page from now on. So it does streamline the update process, but I am going to miss that little pop-up window. But check out our tutorial that we just added to our YouTube VATSIM tutorials playlist to walk you through that flight plan page on the VATSIM, my.vatsim.net site. And there's just a few differences between the format that's here in the app and the format that'll be on the web, and we kind of walk you through that in that latest tutorial, so please feel free to check that out. Last but not least, guys, Flight Sim Expo. You just saw the ad flash across the bottom of the screen there. But it has officially been redirected from the Tropicana to the Rio Casino and Hotel. The Tropicana is being shut down earlier than anticipated, so the event was booked there under the premise that was still going to exist well into next year, but closing down earlier than anticipated to make way for the ballpark that the current team, called the Oakland Athletics, will soon occupy. But the Tropicana stepped up and honored their obligations, and the Flight Sim Expo organizers, the Flight Sim Association team, stepped up and really got a new deal done as far as solidifying a new venue. So we will officially be at the Rio Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, June 21st, June 22nd, and June 23rd. Looking forward to that. Just getting to that down to the point where it's less than 4 months away, guys. Flight simulation. It's just off the Strip, ELW. It's 1 block west of the Strip, just on the other side of the highway. But still going to be a great venue. Penn and Teller, that's where Penn and Teller's resident show is. I'm hoping to grab a viewing of that while I'm out there. Really, it looks like an awesome place, so I'm looking forward to it. Of course, anytime we go to Flight Sim Expo, regardless of where it is, I'm looking forward to it. But massive conference and trade show, 3-day event with all kinds of seminars and presentations and product unveilings out there, and of course a giant show floor with every hardware and software developer in the flight sim space you can think of, showing off their products and services out there, even some real-world pilot training resources out there. Now, starting this weekend, the list of potential speakers, presenters, is going to be published. I am in the bid to do a intro to VATSIM seminar out there. We did one in Houston. I put a bid in to do one again in Las Vegas. So when that voting comes out, guys, I hope that you'll show some support to your friend, Mr. Slant Alpha. Would love to give another presentation on how to get into VATSIM once we get out there in Las Vegas. So when that vote comes out this weekend, do look for that. Do give us some support, guys, and pass the word around on that as well. But we'll make sure that you get that when it comes around. We'll direct you to it in our Discord announcements and also on our Facebook page and over on our X page. I think that's going to wrap it up, guys. I think that's everything that I need to talk about. So thanks again for riding along, flying along. We're going to send you over to our friend Mustafa, another Flight Sim Expo regular and media partner. We'll send you over to Moose. He looks like he's just getting ready to get pushed back and started up. He's in the new update to the Phoenix A320, and we'll send you over to him here, as I hope that you'll say hi and tell him that we send our love from the Slant Alpha channel to the Mustafa channel. But in the meantime, guys, we'll see you Saturday from Vancouver, British Columbia. Have a great rest of your week and start to your weekend, and we will talk to you then. Be healthy and safe in all your own travels and adventures in the meantime. Good night, guys.